Welcome back to the Preptober Diaries, episode 3. Hey, hi, hello. If you're new here, my name is Melanie Steele and I write all things cozy. My debut cozy fantasy novel, The Lunar Quartz Library, is coming out on the 30th of October. Welcome back to Preptober. I can't believe next week is actually going to be the last week of October. Where has this month gone? I've obviously been so busy getting everything ready for my book to come out on the 30th, as well as prepping for writing the next one in November as part of the Rough Draft Challenge. It's been busy, very, very busy. Before we dive into prepping, I wanted just to basically show you something very nice that I bought on the weekend. We went into London to have lunch with friends, and where we were was very close to an anthropology store. I did not know until recently that Anthropology had stores here in the UK. They only have them in London, surprise, surprise, but that works out well for me because it's not very far from where I live. And it was right round the corner from where we were going to have lunch, so I stopped in. It was so nice in there. It was just beautiful. Everything they had was amazing. They had 2 floors, so when I walked in I thought it was a little bit small, but there were 2 floors to this particular store. I had such fun looking at everything that was in there. I did end up getting a purchase. First of all, let me just show you how cute is this bag. Like, it's kind of more of a spring summer vibe, but it's still very cute. What I got was this because basically it was in the sale section and I couldn't say no. It is a very hefty, very pretty pink coaster with this really lovely and kind of gold leaf edging. It really is like weighty. I just thought this color with this kind of wallpaper, I had to get it. It was just such a good match. I have a coaster in here, but it's not the most sturdy of things, so why not? And it was on sale. It was actually even cheaper when I got to the till, so everybody wins. So yes, weekend shopping aside, in the last Preptober video, I talked about wanting to kind of keep the content more varied in these videos, and one thing I thought about was part of the planner I had initially dismissed, which was meal planning. As I said, I do meal plan for myself and my husband, so I didn't really think about that section. But after I kind of filmed that video and whatnot, I got to thinking that not everyone does this. So why not offer up some tips and help? Because Preptober is not solely about, say, getting your novel outlined or coming up with the idea. It's not just about the writing aspect of it, because it's all well and good having this fantastic novel planned that you're going to write in a month or part of in the month anyway. If you don't have everything else in your life basically set up to allow you to do that, you're not going to get very far if you have no idea what you're going to cook each day, if you haven't got any idea what time you'd like to set aside each day to write. If you just wake up and think, I'll write today, it won't happen. It never happens. If you don't make some sort of conscious plan, it just becomes tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. So let's start with doing some sort of meal planning. I have a variety of ideas to share with you. You can either do these as meat-based meals or veggie-based meals. We're both vegetarians, but these are both very easily adapted to your dietary preferences. So if you are trying to get, thousands of words in per day, it can be really useful to have things that you can prep ahead of time and put in the freezer, so that you don't feel like you're eating the same thing every day. A good trick is to start with a base that is easily adaptable. And what I mean by that is something like meat in a tomato sauce or plant-based mince in a tomato sauce. This is a sort of thing that can be transformed into so many recipes. So you could take that exact same meat or plant-based meat in sauce, you can turn it into bolognese by adding like mushrooms and carrots and peppers, and obviously serving it with spaghetti. You could turn that into chili by adding chili powder or fresh chilies and beans of some sort and serving it with rice. You could turn that into burritos by even taking that same chili mixture, putting it in a tortilla and wrapping it up with vegetables. You could use it, that kind of plain tomato meat mixture, to make lasagna. Essentially, you can take one element and change it up into 4 or 5 different meals, so that you do not get the dreaded, I cannot eat this same thing for the 3rd, 4th, 5th day in a row, because that is no fun whatsoever to basically eating the same thing. So I would suggest that you think about things that you like to eat, or things that you can make from maybe 1 or 2 key ingredients, and how you can differentiate that so that you have more variety in your diet, but you don't have to necessarily cook every single day during the month of October. And of course, you've got things like soups, whether you make them yourself in a big batch, which is probably the cheapest way to go, or if you're just running out of time, you can just go and obviously get soup in tins from the supermarket. Super easy, super quick for lunch or possibly as part of dinner. Slow cooker, also a really good one for saving time. Obviously great for stews, casseroles, chili, basically anything that will benefit from being cooked low and slow is definitely one for your slow cooker. So many recipes online, you're bound to find something that you like or would like to try. But the beauty is, of course, that all you have to do is just prep the ingredients, throw it in, and you are done. You don't have to actually cook it, so to speak. You just turn it on and then you are free to go do your writing. And of course, you do not have to make everything from scratch. You are absolutely allowed to go out and buy ready-made food if that is easier, if that is in your budget, if that is just what you prefer to do. Go and do it. This is your permission. Go and buy whatever it is that is going to make your life easier. Never forget the power of the humble frozen pizza from the supermarket. I think everyone should have at least one frozen pizza in their freezer for those days when you just cannot. When you are done, when everything has just gone to pot, you're having a bad day, that frozen pizza is honestly going to save you from either getting a takeaway, which could be pizza, could be something else, or from just, you know, a complete meltdown. For the sake of a few pounds, a few dollars, whatever, the frozen pizza is an absolute game changer to keep in your freezer at all times for those days when you're just done. And of course, if you are, you know, part of a family unit, and maybe consider divvying up the chores a little bit in terms of cooking. If someone else in your household is available to cook and can do so, maybe this is a good time to try offloading something for them, so that you are buying back a little bit more time to focus on your writing. And it's not just dinner that can be kind of prepped in this way as well, even breakfast. Things like porridge, or oatmeal, if this is something you're making for your family, you can actually put it in the slow cooker. So if you're up particularly early, ahead of everyone else, you can just set that going so it's done. You could even put in the ingredients the night before, because it's not anything that's going to kind of spoil, and just set it going. And then short time later, because you don't need to cook it as long as things like stews or casseroles, you would have breakfast ready. You can also make things like breakfast sandwiches ahead of time, freeze them individually, and have those defrosted and ready to eat. Breakfast burritos, you can absolutely make those if you are more of a hot breakfast person. Of course, you can make it super simple and decide all month you are just going to eat cereal or make toast, because nothing is quicker than those. But if you are someone that likes to have a more variety of breakfast options, these are things that you can make ahead or make in larger batches to, again, save you time over the course of the month. So there you have it. There are just some ideas for ways that you can save yourself some time and cook less over the month so that you can free up more time to write and really get stuck in to the challenge that you are undertaking, whether that's writing a whole book, writing part of a book, or maybe a slightly different challenge that you are doing. And on that note, we are going to go and make root veg curry. This is one that is very, very easy to make, and it freezes beautifully. And of course you can keep it in the fridge as well. The recipe for this is in my book Cozy Autumn. So let's go make some food so that I too can save on time this Preptober. I hope you enjoyed that little cook with me segment and that it has kind of got you thinking about what it is you would like to prep or batch or get ready for November so that you are just good to go on your creative project. Following on from kind of getting things ready that aren't necessarily just the writing aspect, I wanted to talk briefly about the self-care aspect of doing your writing challenge in November. So if you're aiming for 50,000 words in a month and that is not your usual speed, it is very easy and you can very quickly slip into burnout. We've all been there, and where we have just put too much on our plate, we've put our expectations way too high, and we have not created the kind of foundation that we need to go forward and achieve what we want to do. And then everything just kind of collapses, and of course we feel like it's our fault. Why couldn't I stick to this goal? Why can't I just sit down and write like everybody else seems to be able to? Why can't I do it? And it gets all awful and internalized on ourselves, and it's not the case at all. So self-care is basically going to underpin your writing efforts for the month. You need to make sure you are taking time to fill the well so that you have the creative energy you need going forward to do whatever it is your project requires of you for November. Even if you're not writing 50,000 words, I am not writing 50,000 words, but still, I need to make sure that I have what I need in place self-care wise, so that I don't get burnt out, so that I don't end up getting to my desk thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. Because sometimes, even with an outline, you can kind of just sit down at your desk and feel a bit, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. It happens to all of us. So I wanted to touch briefly on some of the self-care things I am doing. So other than having things prepped ahead of time as a gift to my future self, I like to have little rituals and just little moments that allow me to step back, relax, let the shoulders down, and just have that bit of breathing space from my project. For me personally, I like to have a kind of anchor ritual that I do before I start writing. This is a really good one to try, even if you have never done anything like this, if you're not really a rituals type person. Something as simple as getting a cup of tea or coffee and doing it mindfully counts as a ritual. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't have time for these 10-step, 20-step morning rituals, me either. Me either. But you can still take time just to have this 1 minute thing of making a nice cup of tea or coffee, and not just kind of trying to drink it as fast as you can so you can get going. Just having that few minutes of doing a very simple action that signifies to your brain that, okay, we're now going to sit down and write, can actually go a long way. And I find that having that kind of ritual at the start of your writing becomes, as I said, an anchor ritual, and it kind of helps you over time to really get in, because you're telling your brain, we're doing this, that means I'm going to write now. So one of the things I like to do before I start writing, before I start much of anything really, which I've talked about I think in a vlog way back, I like to pull an oracle card. And I just picked up this deck today, or rather Amazon just delivered this deck to me today. I did some online workshop with Colette Baron-Reid, who is the is it author? Would we say an author of an oracle deck? Creator of the oracle deck. And I really liked her approach to how to use the oracle and what you can get out of it, and how to approach it differently to what most people would. I just like to sit here, shuffle them as best I can, which isn't very good. I'll be honest, I do have to sometimes borrow my husband to shuffle these cards because I'm just all fingers. But I like to shuffle them about, kind of follow the guidance that she gave in that training for the kinds of questions to ask, pull my card, and then have a read through the guidebook, and then I just kind of make a little note in this here teeny tiny notebook of what I feel the card is guiding me towards and things to be aware of. It's just a nice little ritual that I have for myself personally. Some people do this with tarot. I'm not skilled enough to do this with tarot. I prefer these kind of oracle decks. I feel like the meanings are they're more clear. Some of the tarot cards are just very I'm working on the whole anxiety issue I have with tarot. I've gotten a lot better, but I still don't feel skilled enough to read it personally for myself. It is a skill I'm thinking of putting on my personal curriculum, which is a short Tuesday topic video I hope to be uploading soon, maybe next week or the week after. But I'm still debating whether it's something I really want to do. So that aside, having that kind of anchor, that morning ritual, is definitely one step in your self-care toolbox. Another one is basically knowing yourself. So when you get to stressful situations, you can often find yourself unable to think of what it is you can do to make yourself feel better. We know how it is. We've just gotten to a point where we are done, we are fed up, we just feel like we can't carry on with what it is we're doing, and we just end up vegetating in front of the TV, watching Netflix or whatever. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but I think with self-care, if you have a list of things that you know have helped you in the past when you've kind of hit a bit of a low moment, It's so much easier to do that in advance so that when you hit said low moment, you have a list of things you can go back to and say, oh, maybe trying this, this particular activity or this ritual, whatever it is that you know is going to bring your mood back up, is going to kind of help you get back into a better mindset. Having a list of those ahead of time is really, really useful, because you know, as well as I do, we're all going to hit this point of thinking, I don't want to do this anymore, I can't do this anymore, and then we can just reference our list of things that help us, and then we can do those, take a deep breath, and carry on with our projects. So yeah, self-care, I think, is a really important thing to consider now before you get into your writing, so that you have a plan to take the best care of yourself, and then you can basically produce your best work if you are taking care of yourself. So I think I'm going to end this Preptober Diaries right about here. I hope you enjoyed the kind of different angle I've gone for with this video, not just the kind of writing tips. Those will be coming in next week's Preptober Diaries, which will be the last one, because obviously next week is the end of October. We have to start the project. It's crazy that it's coming around so soon, isn't it? It's like going to be November, and not only is my book going to be out, I'm starting the next book, which is crazy, but I am most definitely looking forward to it. So if this is your first vlog here, you might want to go back and check out the rest of the Preptober Diaries for some more specific writing related tips and advice, and to learn a bit more about the book I'm working on. I will put a link up here, because I can never remember which side it actually comes out on, for the playlist, or you can go on my channel and search for it yourself. If you enjoyed this content, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button down below. I upload a topic video every Tuesday and a vlog every Thursday. And for the month of November, I will be focusing on the Rough Draft Challenge, hence the t-shirt, and basically getting book number 2 started. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm wishing you the best of luck with your Preptober. I'd love for you to share down below what you are doing to take care of yourself. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye.